Component costs and severe memory shortages are aggressively pushing brand new phone prices higher than ever this year. Because of that markup, a 2-year-old flagship phone often reaches a price point where you retain nearly all the premium features for less than half the cost of a brand new model. This timeline tracks the market cycle after a new launch. Industry tracking shows a median gap of about 82 days between a new phone's release and the point where the freshest refurbished stock of the previous generation hits the market. With recent major launches like the Pixel 9 rolling out, that roughly 3-month window is opening up right now. Waiting for that window is a smart financial play, but navigating the secondary market requires navigating a vocabulary that is entirely unregulated. If a listing simply says used, it means someone owned it and now it's for sale. No inspection is implied. There is no grading standard, and every bit of verification work falls directly on you. The words refurbished and renewed sound safer because they imply a process occurred: inspection, testing, and restoration. But the words themselves carry no legal guarantee. The actual quality relies entirely on who performed that inspection. While a weak battery is a common frustration, the most significant risk is receiving a device with an active activation lock or a blacklisted IMEI, which leaves you with an unusable brick that cannot be activated on any network. To protect yourself, you need to understand exactly what the marketplace tiers mean and run a strict 20-minute hardware protocol the moment the device arrives. This spectrum illustrates the trade-off inherent in the secondary market. As the financial discount increases, the responsibility for quality control moves from the seller to you. The safest tier available is manufacturer certified, operated directly by companies like Apple or Samsung. This matrix compares the 3 main sourcing tiers. Manufacturer programs are highly regulated. Apple and Samsung give you a completely new battery, a new outer shell, entirely genuine replacement parts, and the exact same 1-year warranty as a brand new device. But that safety carries a cash premium. You're generally looking at savings of around 15% at best. You are paying upfront to buy your way out of the risk. For most buyers, the value sweet spot lives in the second tier, third-party refurbished marketplaces like Amazon Renewed, Backmarket, or Swappa. Here, the prices drop drastically, but you hit specific compromises. Amazon, for example, requires sellers to deliver at least 80% battery capacity, but that is a floor, not a ceiling. You also introduce the possibility of aftermarket screens and varying part quality. The final option is carrier-certified pre-owned programs. These are reputable sources, but do not assume they match the manufacturer. Their warranties are almost always slashed to 90 days. Selecting a marketplace tier is really a choice of currency. You either pay extra cash to a manufacturer for peace of mind, or you pay with your own time and diligence to secure a third-party discount. Once you choose a marketplace, you have to decode the grading system. Sellers rely on a mix of letters and words, like grade A, pristine, or grade C, fair. The core problem is that grading is entirely cosmetic. It indicates how many visible scratches the shell has. It tells you absolutely nothing about the health of the internal components, and there is no industry-wide standard to enforce it. This chart plots battery health against cosmetic grade, showing why it is often a mistake to prioritize a flawless screen over battery longevity. A buyer will often pay a premium for a visually pristine grade A phone only to discover it has a 76% battery. Meanwhile, a scuffed grade C phone might boast an 89% battery capacity. This quadrant represents a specific opportunity for budget buyers. By accepting visible cosmetic wear, you can often secure the highest battery health for the lowest possible price. If you buy the battery and tolerate the scratches, you can spend a fraction of your savings on a thick protective case. Cosmetic wear disappears the second you put a case on it, but a degraded battery will force you to hunt for a charger every single afternoon. The moment your phone gets delivered, the clock starts. You are inside a brief return window, and that window is your only real protection against a fraudulent seller. This interactive scorecard tracks the mandatory arrival protocol. Step 1. Check the IMEI. Dial *#06# and cross-reference the number on the screen with the physical box and the SIM tray. Any mismatch means the phone's identity or internal parts have been swapped. Run that number through a stolen device database to confirm it hasn't been reported lost or stolen, which would permanently blacklist it from any network. There is one notable exception. A legitimate Samsung-certified renewed device gets a brand new IMEI during factory restoration. A mismatch there is actually by design. Step 2. Check for account locks. The phone must boot to the setup screen without prompting you for an activation lock on iOS or factory reset protection on Android. If it asks for a previous owner's credentials, stop immediately. An account-locked device overrides every warranty in existence. It is completely useless to you. Step 3. Dig into the settings or diagnostic apps to verify the battery health is above 80. Record a voice memo to test both microphones. Check every edge of the touchscreen and test the NFC by tapping a card. Finally, insert your SIM card to ensure calls and data actually connect. Then immediately take a screenshot of the original online listing and the seller's warranty terms. Dedicating 20 focused minutes on day 1 guarantees that if you do find a critical flaw, your absolute worst-case scenario is a simple return for a refund instead of a permanent scam. This decision tree maps out the final purchase logic based on your personal risk tolerance and budget. If you despise dealing with returns and insist on a pristine device out of the box, you are a risk-averse upgrader. Stick entirely to manufacturer certified and accept the smaller financial discount. If your primary goal is maximizing your budget to get flagship hardware for half the price, you belong in the third-party marketplace. Shop for grade B or C, verify the battery health up front, and run the 48-hour arrival checklist aggressively. There are 2 scenarios where buying completely new is actually the smarter financial move. The first is budget tier models. The refurbished discounts on entry-level phones are often too thin to justify the second-hand risks. The second is if you require the absolute longest runway for security patches and software updates. An older refurbished phone that stops receiving software support next year isn't actually a bargain. But if you decide to buy refurbished, always remember the core principle. Battery health beats cosmetic grade every single time. Skipping the day 1 arrival inspection is the only real way for a buyer to get burned in this market. Buying refurbished is a smart way to leverage your tech budget, provided you treat it as a strict verification process instead of trusting a marketing promise.